Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital. Now before I begin, be sure to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. The Blair family's South Dakota ranch always seems to have more grass than its neighbors. And this is good news, not only for the Blair's cows, but also one unique local resident, the sage grouse. How does the Blair family do it? We'll find out at the end of this video. But first, if you are a Western landowner, you may be able to help out this unique species as well. And in today's video, we have the top things you should know. Number 1, what is a sage grouse? The sage grouse is a chicken-like bird that's uniquely adapted to sagebrush country. It used to number in the millions, but in recent decades, the population has crashed due to the large-scale conversion of native rangelands to cultivated fields, housing, and energy developments. Number 2, what is unique about the sage grouse? The sage grouse has an elaborate courtship ritual known as leaking, where the males will perform a strutting display. Number 3, what is the sage grouse's habitat? The sage grouse nest on the ground, usually under a sagebrush shrub. This means they inhabit large, intact, and mostly treeless landscapes where sagebrush is prevalent. This habitat is called the sagebrush sea and includes most northern western states. Number 4, you may be thinking this is all very interesting, but why should we care about the sage grouse? Well, there are many benefits to protecting the sage grouse and its habitat. For one, the sage grouse is found only in North America and is quickly on its way to extinction. But not only that, the sage grouse is an ambassador species for the sagebrush sea. Thus, if sage grouse numbers are struggling, it means that the ecosystem as a whole is not doing well. While this may not be immediately evident, sage grouse often share land with cattle, and conservation efforts give ranchers new incentives and funding opportunities to enhance their operations. In addition, the sage grouse help the broader economy, since many people will pay for conservation tours that highlight these birds. Finally, the sage grouse is part of an iconic habitat that exemplifies the West, and one that many of us would mourn if it were gone. And number 5, how have ranchers and landowners been helping the sage grouse? As of the time of this video, over 1,500 landowners in 11 Western states have voluntarily worked with the federal government to restore sage grouse habitat on their land. And if you want to help the sage grouse on your land, here's what you can do. Protect sagebrush plants where they occur on your property. Plant a mixture of shrubs, grasses, and forbs, and avoid monocultures. Actively remove invasive species, in particular junipers and other conifers, as well as cheatgrass, which help spread wildfire. Mark fences with white vinyl flags, since sage grouse cannot look forward and often run into fencing. And finally, establish a conservation or agricultural easement that protects open space and rangeland from future development. But if you're thinking that these activities will involve sacrifice on your part, you would be wrong. For many of the practices that help conserve sagebrush also produce healthy grass, which means greater profits for ranchers. And this brings me back to the Blair family. Ed Blair, along with his brother, son, and nephew, have grazed 40,000 acres of South Dakota's rangeland at the point where the Black Hills meet the prairie. The family has worked the land since 1954, when Ed's father moved the family farm from his father's Sturgis homestead. The new farm offered greater opportunity to grow the family's cattle herd, but had one big problem. It's dry. This part of the state receives an average of just 14 inches of rain per year, and many ranchers must periodically sell off their cattle during droughts. Fortunately, Ed and the rest of the Blair family are full of ideas on how to improve their soil health and are willing to adopt just about any practice that may make their grass healthier. And over the years, they've adopted just about every conservation technique, including riparian fencing, multi-species cover crops, and rotational grazing. All of this means that the Blairs can grow more grass and double their stocking rate. More recently, the family has worked with the Sage Grouse Initiative, a program run by the USDA that proactively conserves sage grouse habitat on private land in order to prevent the species from listing under the Endangered Species Act. The Sage Grouse Initiative provides funding and resources to partner ranchers to install infrastructure such as livestock fence flags, as well as remove junipers and other encroaching conifers. As is the case with the Blairs, the Sage Grouse Initiative is a win-win approach that provides solutions which are good for ranchers and for the grouse. To date, the program has worked with more than 2,000 ranches to conserve nearly 8 million acres of sagebrush rangelands, an area 3.5 times the size of Yellowstone. For the Blairs, this means a healthy, diverse, and profitable ranch. And recently, their hard work paid off. For the Blair brothers' Angus Ranch just won the South Dakota Leopold Conservation Award, a dream long held by Ed. As Ed's son Chad said, you can help the environment and yourself by doing these programs. Or as Ed says, we take care of the grass and it takes care of us. And if they can do it, so can you. But what do you think? Do you have any stories about sage grouse conservation? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in just 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down listings at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.